hit record. And Eric, it is all yours, brother.
Awesome. Welcome, guys, to our first weekly call of a new group. This is something new. So Sean and I got together when we were in Nashville last week and basically just figured we do okay by ourselves, but we'd probably do a lot better together. So we joined forces with these new coach groups, with our challenge group, and basically Sean's had a ton of success with Beachbody. He's a two-star diamond coach. Dominique and I are just about in our first year, and we figured both of us together can give you a lot more than what I can give you personally, what he can give you personally. So we just wanted to come together, give you guys some good stuff. I'm going to take us through so for an outline today, I'm going to give you kind of like expectations, what to expect from these training calls each week, what to expect in our group. But then also I'm going to dive really hard into personal development. We're going to talk, just to give you like the structure for the next 4 weeks, we're going to talk about the 4 vital behaviors. And I asked Sean if I could do this one because single-handedly personal development had the biggest impact on my life out of anything else. It's how I met Dominique. It's how we moved out to Maui. It's how we became full-time Beachbody coaches. It's how I've been able to overcome some anxieties, insecurities, doubts that we all have. And it's really boiled down to personal development. So I'm going to say personal development, probably my goal is 100 times tonight. So it's really at the front of your mind. I want to drill it down into you because I believe it's the most important vital behavior to anything else. I think it's what gives us the fuel to run successful businesses. So before I get into that, just to give you guys kind of an outline or what to expect in the group, raise your hand if you want another boss or a babysitter in your life. Anyone? Okay, I didn't see any hands. I wouldn't expect that, and that's not what we're here for. Sean, Tara, Dominique, and I, we're not here to be anybody's babysitter or boss because Dominique, I have a boss already. She's upstairs. Her name's Dominique. I had bosses when I worked at the coffee shops, all the other crappy jobs I had before, and that's not how I do best. I do best from being self-reliant and figuring things out on my own and working together as a group. So we're not here to be your boss. We're not here to tell you what to do. We are here literally as your mentors, your friends, and your strategy. I don't know. We're here to strategize with you, but we're here to support you. So we're going to have everything that you need to be successful. Everything in this training comes from Lindsay Matway. And if you've been in Beachbody long enough, you've heard Lindsay Matway. She is the top coach, has been the top coach. And we just took her exact training. We're just putting it in our own words, our own theme with what Sean and I do and the theme of our teams and our mindset. So you're learning from the best. This is what we got from the top coach. It's just going to be up to you to show up every single day and to go into that kind of the foundation of this group, of these calls, and foundation for your success as a coach is going to come down to literally just your daily actions compounded over time. We've all heard of like the slight edge, the compound effect, those small, seemingly insignificant things every day. Like when we were at the Success Club cruise and all the top 10 coaches were talking, all they said, like the secret to their success was that they showed up every day and they did the 4 vital behaviors with passion and energy. So it really does come down to that. It's just going to be up to you. We're here again to support you, to help you guys out, but it's going to be up to you to show up every day, to do Sean's going to be posting those little assignments each day. They're really simple assignments. It's, because now, as you guys have seen so far, like changing your profile picture, making your page public, super simple things that are going to give you that foundation for success. Before I get into, I just want to hit a couple goals or a couple notes before I get into personal development. If you're a newer coach and if you're new, like you've just signed up as a coach or you're just getting started, I know we have a few coaches in here who have been coaches for a little while, but who are just getting back into it. You should have the goal with this month, with everything we have to offer, especially in August, it should be a goal to not only hit Success Club 10, it should be a standard to hit Success Club 10 and Emerald, but also make that list of 100 names of people that you can help That's going to be what helps you get closer to those goals. So if you haven't thought about your goals yet, just make a note of that. Write that down. You want to be Emerald Success Club 10 at the end of the month. We'll talk more about that when we get into inviting, all that good stuff. But just have that at the forefront of your mind so you have something you're working towards. And I know at the beginning it's a lot of information, but just keep that at the forefront of your mind. So let's get into personal development. I'm going to start kind of so the person I am today, I'm almost 25 years old, is completely different from the person I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was in college. It was a year after my dad passed away. I was very confused with what I was doing each day. I was partying 5 or 6 nights a week. I was drinking all the time. My anxieties, like I said before, my doubts, my insecurities really took a hold on me, and it made me feel like I was just like this all the time, just holding everything in, not really, no sense of direction where I was going. Like I said, I was just partying. I didn't know what to do with all these emotions, right? It was something, we've all had big events in our lives. I know you have. And we're not always sure what to do and how to handle those. And that's what kind of led me to a really dark place, and maybe you could say a mild little depression. And in this depression, while I was in school, just not feeling like myself, feeling isolated from the world. Don't judge me for this, but I was watching Jersey Shore one night. We used to watch Jersey Shore, and then a little promo came on after the show, and it was the guy Vinny. If you've seen the show, Vinny came on, and he was talking about how he just released this new book, and the book was called Control the Crazy, and it was about how he's overcome his anxieties. And I was like, that sounds really interesting. I need some help. I know I need to make a change, because at that point in my life, I was getting close to thinking, like, questioning, do I want to keep living? So I'm not even exaggerating when I say, I started doing counseling, and I picked up this book, and it started to change everything because of what it made me realize. And I didn't realize this was a personal development book or a self-help book at the time, but it made me realize a few things. One, that I'm not the only one that feels isolated, scared, disconnected from the world. I also felt like it was possible to make a difference. Like, if someone, he kind of gave his story, if someone else can overcome these things, then so can I. And, at 20 years old, that was huge for me. And it also started to give me strategies of how exactly to do that. And a lot of that is parallel with what we do as coaching: moving your body each day, eating good food, drinking water, associating yourself with positive people like we are here and every week. So it started to give me this glimpse of hope. And that kind of led up to a couple months later, I would say I had the biggest aha turning point in my life, where I just got out of my shell. I just started talking to people. And by talking to people, I realized I didn't have to be this shy, insecure person my whole life. And it's that single belief, overcoming that belief that I'm shy and I can't talk to people. I'm weird. I'm awkward. I was really socially awkward. I probably still am a little bit. But just overcoming that, still to this day, almost 5 years later, has opened up every door of opportunity for me. So like I said, I didn't know it was a personal development book at the time, but that's how my journey began. And that was long before Beachbody. And what that really made me realize is, like, the things, think of like your brain as a computer. The things that you put in each day is going to be the result of your life. So for me at that time, I was not only putting in alcohol and crappy TV shows and associating myself with people who weren't the best for my growth, who were just partying all the time, that the output was that I felt like shit each day. It's that I didn't have any clear sense of direction or purpose, or really just didn't know why I was waking up each day. So it's like that first step is kind of starting to recognize that you can make that difference, that you can start changing what you put into your brain. So fast forward a few years later to when we started with Beachbody and coaching. I just had another like kind of aha moment. I was like if I just read what our coach Scotty Hobbs reads, if I listen to what Scotty listens to, I'm going to get the same results. It's not like the books that he picks up are any different than if I picked up that same book. It's the same ideas. The only difference is I just need to do this consistently every day over time. And just like our workouts, just like inviting, it's a non-negotiable. So I realized that right from the beginning, and I committed my first year to reading 52 books, about a book a week. And I did that. I hit that goal. and that's kind of been my standard ever since. And just so you guys kind of know my standards and goals that I have for myself each day is I read 30 minutes in the morning, and then throughout the day, Dominique and I worked all day today. I always have personal development going on in the background. So that's usually 5 to 6 hours of good, empowering thoughts going in my ear. Even if it's not my conscious mind, it's going into my subconscious mind. So I always have that going. So that's kind of my standard. And I'm going to kind of break down personal development from this point. So I believe there's 4 types of personal development. It comes down to the books and audios that you listen to. It comes down to the people that you associate yourself with. It comes down to these weekly team calls. So National Wake Up Call, New Coach Training Call. On our team, we have Wine and Why Wednesdays. There's a Team Dynasty calls. There's a Bombshell Dynasty. There's all these calls that we can listen to and tune into each week. And then the 4th one is the events. So we just got back from Summit. We just got back from Super Saturday. All of these contribute to our personal development because we're in that environment. Some are more intense, like in the Summit, in the events, in the team calls. Some are a little less crazy and like sensory overload, when you're reading your books or listening to your audios, but they all contribute to that end goal of immersing yourself in personal development, in personal growth. And honestly, like I share the things that I learn, the books that I read with every person too. And I don't give a shit if they ever become a Beachbody coach or buy a challenge pack or not. My goal isn't to convince people or anything like that. It's to help them get started on their own personal growth journey. And that's why why Sean and Scotty and I have talked long distance. What we want to be doing is to be doing personal development seminars and having these big events, because our goal is, what we're doing, not just with coaching, but as people, is to help them grow and to help them explore more and become the best versions of themselves. So those are my 4 types of personal development. Again, just realizing that it's your brain is like a computer. Everything you put in is it's gonna have an outward effect. Just like Sean and I had a call last night, and I got a ton of ideas from him that I started implementing. Every time I read, it's a new idea for books. So those ideas that you're gonna have to grow your Beachbody business aren't just gonna come by you getting on Facebook 1 or 2 hours a day. It's not gonna come from watching the latest Bachelor or Bachelorette show. It's not going to come from that. It's going to come from those books, those audios, those people, all of that intuitively are going to help you grow. It's one thing to know it, but as we know, common sense isn't common practice, right? So it has to become a discipline. And moving into like my next point with that, it has to become an obsession. You literally have to become obsessed with growing your mind, growing your body. So that means making some sacrifices. Like I said, sacrificing those TV shows, sacrificing listening to the radio, sacrificing anything else that distracts you, or even just like, okay, so my next example is like with becoming an obsession, I listen to personal development when I'm driving, when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm doing laundry, when I'm working out. I just finished a workout. I was listening to Tony Robbins. While making food, while I'm walking, while I'm showering. So it seems like a weird sacrifice, but like I can't sacrifice that time while I'm making food of just listening to my own thoughts instead of having this someone who knows a whole lot more about life putting those ideas in my head. I can listen to my own ideas and reiterate my own limiting beliefs and my own philosophy, or I could be open to taking in more and listening to more. And so, like I said, it has to become an obsession for you. It has to become something that you totally, completely immerse yourself into. And where this came, like, I don't know what it's going to take for you. Maybe you already have that fire. Like for me, it was kind of easy, right? For personal development, that was kind of easy for me because I really enjoy it. For Dominique, it was a challenge. And at the beginning, she was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need self-help books. I don't need, these audios, anything like that. But what she's learned over time is, and like as a husband, I have to let her figure that out on her own, is, by going to those events, going to Super Saturday, all that good stuff, she sees from those other coaches, so it's like, what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure what's going to ignite that for you, but it does need to ignite. You have to start that fire. My hope and my intention for this call is, if it hasn't started yet, that tonight is that turning point for you. Where it came from for me, honestly, not even from that everything I talked about from the beginning, but it was something my dad used to tell me every day. And we had this kind of ritual. It started the first day of 7th grade. I still remember I was wearing my Abercrombie Fitch, my cargo shorts, all awkward and insecure. It started that first day. He would drive me to school, and that was our time to talk to each other. And when he dropped me off at school each day, he'd always look me in the eye and he'd always say, be the best you can be today. So like, I post that a lot on social media, and it's not just a cute saying. Be the best you can be has become like my way of life. It's why I live each day. Become the best I can be so that I can help others become the best that they can be. So it really has to be a lot bigger than just Beachbody and coaching. It has to become who you are. So this whole personal development journey tonight, if it hasn't already started for you, I need you to commit to it. I need to start taking action, come up with a game plan. And when I say you need a personal development game plan, I'm not saying you have to list out 52 books you're going to read, anything like that. But you do need something that you need something that you can commit to each week. So for me, that's a book I'm reading and an audio I'm listening to. There has to be some kind of structure so that you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing with your time each day. So if you don't know exactly where to start, I just have a couple suggestions that you hear all the time in Beachbody world, and that's a Slight Edge or the Compound Effect. It's a really good book for anyone just starting with coaching, especially as you guys are newer coaches. And then also the ones that have had the biggest impact on Dominique and I is GoPro, which is kind of how to become a professional network marketer. Go for No, which will help you kind of overcome that fear of hearing no from people, and anything from Tony Robbins. So, you know what? That's all I got for us tonight. I wanted to make it pretty quick, short, get right to the point. And the Miracle Morning. Oh, Dominique's on. I came downstairs because whenever I get on team calls, I get loud and I start moving around, and I think it makes her a little uncomfortable. But yeah, the Miracle Morning also helped us really establish a morning routine, get in the right mindset each day. So that's all I got for us. If I was going to open the rest of the time up for questions for personal development, since we have a smaller group here, we can kind of dig a little bit deeper. If anyone wants to share or needs help getting started or anything like that. But the rest of the time is kind of ours just to open that discussion. I'll give us kind of like 10 minutes because I want to keep these calls each week to about 30 minutes, short and sweet, to the point. So does anyone have any questions? Or anything you want to add in, Sean or Tara or Dominique?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so Eric didn't know I was going to do this, but it kind of reminded me of some stuff that I already have. So if you guys go onto the page, I just uploaded a team call that I did with Andrea Waltz probably about 6 months ago. It's called Go for No. She is actually the author of Go for No. So she goes over her spiel herself. So if you guys look into the Coach Basics training, there's a little something for you. You guys can take a look at it. Let's Go for No. As you guys are starting this journey becoming new coaches, I want you guys to remember one thing. Go for no. And don't let that no bug you. No just means not right now. You're going to get a lot of no's. You're going to get a lot of no answers. And I want you guys to know it's normal. It's very normal that that's going to happen. So do not get frustrated. Do not start thinking, well, this isn't working for me. It happens to me. It happens to Tara and Dominique and Eric. It happens to all of us. So it's normal. It's part of the game. Okay. So when you start getting those no's and you start seeing, well, it was going so well and they just stopped responding. It's normal. It's okay. It'll happen. It just means not right now. It means they're not ready. Throw them on your follow-up list. Stay in contact, build that relationship, and do not worry about that in the future. As well as as Eric was talking, I was trying to get it all in the group until he was done. I will upload the Compound Effect into the group, so you guys will have that free PDF if you guys just want to look at it on your phones or your tablet or the computer, as well as I believe I have the Slight Edge also. So I will upload that as some free PDFs for you guys to overlook. Great way to start personal development without paying for anything. Remember, everything that you do buy when it comes to personal development is all a tax write-off. You guys can use it as write-offs for your business, and think of it that way, because when you start doing really well, you want to think write-offs because you want to be able to save some money from the tax man. So invest in yourself. Invest in yourself as much as you can. With these team calls, we don't really have anything going on right now except for like Eric and I. We have our Scotty's Personal sponsored trip, which happens next week, right, Eric? I'm not able to make it, so but anything that you hear, like Summit 2017, you guys might not, as new coaches, you might not be sure about it, but all that stuff is tax write-offs too. Just because I got onto the tax write-off conversation. So yeah, I put those free. I will put the other 2 books into the group for you. So to get you guys started on something, as well as what I learned from Eric is there is a ton of stuff on YouTube. There's a ton of books on there. There's a ton of, Tony Robbins, anything that you can listen to in the background as personal development, you can find on YouTube. Just type it and it'll come up, and you'll see in the search under YouTube beside it, they'll give you 50 other things that you can listen to. So there's a ton of free stuff just to get you guys rocking. But that is all I have. Maybe Tara can plug in about personal development and what it's done for her. She's like, oh man, you just put me on the spot. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun.
No, she was actually just screaming, so I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I don't really know anything off the top of my head, but I know that I'll say about 8 months ago, I used to be like completely negative towards everything. I used to look at the negative in every outlook, but with reading personal development and all the Audible books that we have on audible.com, it's really changed me. So I really recommend it. Even though it's like hard, I remember at the very beginning how I thought I was such a loser trying to pick up a book or whatever, and I didn't think I could get into the book because it just wasn't me at that time. But now that I did, I'm actually very thankful for it. So.
All right, and Dominique, I know Eric was.
One more thing.
Okay, go ahead, Eric. Yeah.
I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but kind of the purpose, I think I should have started this, but like the purpose of personal development is no matter what, like at some point during this business, you're going to want to quit. Like it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to get, like, life is going to seem overwhelming. It's all going to seem like so much. And I'll give you a really specific example. When Dominique and I went to Europe for a month and we came back and totally got out of our groove, I don't think we talked about it out loud, but I know we were both thinking, like, do we really want to do this? Am I right, Dom? Yeah. We were like, should we really keep going with this? And that's a thought that's like, it's kind of scary, to have, but we probably would have quit. We probably would have given up if it weren't for the year that we've invested in all that time growing, learning about ourselves, figuring out our goals, figuring out what we truly want out of life. So at that point, it's like all that build up, all that work that's gone into it. It was just like, it's too much. Like we can't quit at this point. We've invested too much of ourselves, of our passion, and we've put too much into other people as well. So it's like, as you go on this personal development journey and growth, you're going to realize you're touching and inspiring a lot of people, and they're going to start to look up to you, and they're going to, in some ways, depend on you. So it becomes, at the beginning, it's like you have to help yourself first, right? I needed that time even before Dominique, even before coaching. I needed like 3 years just to learn who I am and what I want out of life. So it's like we do need to be selfish to a certain extent at the beginning until we feel certain about who we are and what we really want. And then it becomes much bigger than us. And then it becomes helping other people, investing in other people. And at that point, quitting just does not become an option. And I tell you, we would have given up. I would have given up if it weren't for the last year of not only the books and the audios, but the friendships like Sean and Tara, like, you know, like Scotty and everyone from his team. The sense of community that you feel within Beachbody is, I can't compare it to anything else that I've ever experienced in life. So that's why it's so important to me, because it's going to get tough. It's going to be hard at times. And then once you just realize, like, this tough experience, this negative, what I perceive as negative, challenging experience is actually good and actually a part of my growth, and is actually sending me in the right direction, then you embrace it. And then that struggle doesn't overwhelm you as much. That struggle doesn't start to shift your behaviors, your actions, what you're doing each day. So I guess what I just kind of wanted to end on is, like, just to be completely honest, transparent with you guys, especially at the beginning of your journey, it will get tough and it will be challenging. What we do is not complicated. It's simple. We drink a shake, we do a workout, we share on social media, we talk to people, and we keep doing that. It's simple what we do each day, but it's easy, really easy to overcomplicate it. And it's really easy to get distracted. I'm firsthand the best example of that, of someone who gets distracted and starts looking at other opportunities when it gets hard. But investing in yourself is the best investment we can make. So just commit to that. And that's kind of what I wanted to end on. You know, it's going to get tough, but it's going to be worth it. And that challenge, all those challenges, as you overcome them, just makes it that much sweeter. So anything else you want to add, Sean, before we let him go for the night?
Yeah, I just want to add another point to what Eric said, where he wanted to quit, or was thinking about it in the back of his mind because of personal development. I have never had that thought. And I'm saying that because I am not the same person I was 4 years ago today. And I know that. But I also know that I did struggle with things outside of Beachbody, and personal development pulled me through that. There was a really long time after Shai was born that I was dealing with insecurities and so forth. Actually, I think it was before Shai was born, and I was dealing with insecurities of the relationship. I was dealing with insecurities of myself, and I was in a big funk. And it really had nothing to do with Beachbody. It just had to do with my relationship. So the point I'm getting at is, you don't always have to read business personal development. You don't always have to read, okay, I got to learn how to influence others, right? I got to learn what my big why is. I got to learn what, how to talk to anybody. You can read other books, like a big one. If you're in a relationship, read the 5 Love Languages, right? That's a fantastic book to understand what your partner is like, but not only what your partner is like, what you're like, and what qualities and relationship reinforcements you need. So what I'm saying is, use personal development to deal with whatever you're struggling with. If you're finding something that may be hard in Beachbody, and maybe it is, you don't know how to talk to people, then you can read a book on talking to people. But if it's a relationship issue that you're having that is maybe pulling you back from Beachbody, take the time to understand the relationship, right? Read a book on your relationships. If it's anxiety, like Eric was saying, read a book on anxiety. All I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be business related to count as personal development. Read whatever you are going through in life to help you move forward and be a better you. And in 6 months to a year, you're going to be a completely different person. Not only physically, because you'll be doing the proof of product. By the way, that's my call next week. That's proof of the product. But you're just going to transform everything about your life in the next 6 to 12 months. And if you guys are serious about this training and you take it in and you show up every day, I promise you're going to start seeing some success. And what does Scotty always say? Success leaves clues. That's all I got, my man. Cool. So we'll end it at that. We will see you here next week, same time, with me, Mr. Sean Borghino, proof of the product, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.